We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world. We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Legends of the Dark Knight, issue 21. This is a 1991 issue from DC Comics, written by Mike Barr, pencils by Bart Sears, inks by Randy Elliott, Willie Schubert on letters, Steve Oliff on colors, Dooley, Clark, and Helfer were the editors. This is part one of the three-part Faith storyline. We start off with a junkie who got a bad mix of something, staggering through the streets, almost gets run over by a car, and some thugs get out and beat the crap out of him, because this car is Mr. Costas's car, and he is a very infamous drug dealer in Gotham City. Now, Batman swoops down and saves the kid and takes him to the hospital after beating the crap out of all the thugs. And it's here that he meets Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who is a staunch anti-Batman opponent at this time, and she explains his situation to him, that the drugs are likely going to kill him. She's very indifferent. She knows most junkies are just going to up and leave. This guy had almost a religious experience when seeing Batman, and nobody seems to quite understand the impact that has on Mr. John Akers. So Batman goes out on patrol again, trying to find Costas, while this Akers guy is having a hallucination or a nightmare. It's not real clear that Batman spared him for a reason, and he seems to find some direction with that. Now Leslie, after having dinner with Bruce Wayne, not realizing that he's Batman, returns to the clinic and finds Akers still there. Akers spends about a week at the hospital and then goes about setting up a sort of Guardian Angels type street gang. It's very obvious these characters were inspired by the Guardian Angels, except they're a much more violent group than that, and they're running around with like baseball bats beating up local criminals and street thugs. Gordon is not very happy about any of this, and Batman finds himself face to face with this group, and he thought he would immediately shut it down, but he kind of liked having the backup. So while these street vigilantes are kind of a mix between the mutants in Dark Knight and the Guardian Angels of New York City, there's definitely some inspiration from both, and that really does kind of play out a little bit here. To some extent it works, others it seems a bit trite. Overall, I thought it was actually a fairly realistic version of what vigilantes would end up being, would be more street level guys with baseball bats. So I'm interested to see where this goes, because it's not going to end well. There's a definite hint at the end of the book that maybe John's got some deeper rooted problems than just the drugs. So I thought it was a good story, but it's not the best of the series so far, but it's definitely solid storytelling. So if you get a chance to check this out and you can pick it up for the price of a new issue or less, I would absolutely do it. And we'll see how the rest of the story goes in the next two issues. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.
We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Legends of the Dark Knight issue 22. This is from the 1989 series from DC Comics, and this is Faith Part 2, so we're halfway through the story. This is written by Mike Barr, pencils by Bart Sears, inks by Randy Elliott, Willie Schubert, letterer, Steve Oliff on colors, Dooley, Clark, and Helfer did the editing. The cover's really good, and it does relate to what's going on in the book, so that would have got me to buy it back in the day, and I have no doubt that's why I bought it back in the day. Well, the gang fighting is getting worse, with the Batmen beating up some pushers, and Leslie Thompson is not happy about it. And Batman is, of course, trying to downplay everything. So Batman goes and talks to Gordon, who is still a captain at this point, and tries to get some intel on what's going on. Now, Gordon is getting a lot of flack because the Batmen are basically vigilantes, but street level, so they're going around with hand-to-hand weapons, beating the crap out of pushers. That does create a lot of problems in the media, and he's getting a lot of crap from the brass not to let this happen. Gordon is also upset because a lot of the people involved in this are basically teenagers, and he doesn't like that they're involved in this because they should be in school and not in juvie, and he thinks that Batman is abusing them in a way. But Batman really isn't running the show, he's just sort of allowing them to function. Now, the Batmen are doing some good. They are helping old ladies and keeping the neighborhood safe, and generally speaking, a lot of the citizens don't seem to mind them too much. There are people like Leslie that are very against them, but others see them as a net good. But John, their leader, is having all sorts of manic issues, and he is obsessed with Costas. So he thinks Batman wants him to go kill Costas, and he's got a gun just for that. So when Gordon goes after Costas, so do the Batmen and the real Batman. And it is a shoot-to-kill policy for the Bat. Unfortunately, things go pretty askew here, and there is a pretty brutal knockdown drag-out between the cops, Batman, and Costas men. Dr. Tompkins has to deal with that fallout as well. But when the Batmen show up at the hospital to deal with Costas, Batman's in the way. And we're left with a cliffhanger ending, as you would expect. Overall, a really solid story, pretty fun, really good art. I'm not a giant fan of Bart Sears, but I can recognize the talent. And over the years, his style has grown quite a bit on me. So I did like it, and I'm looking forward to reading part 3. So we'll see how it wraps up next issue. So a good story, solid art, and a really cool cover. It all comes together, and so if you get a chance to check it out, I'd recommend the storyline so far. I'm having a lot of fun with it. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.
We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Legends of the Dark Knight issue 23. This is part 3 of the storyline Faith, which is the final part, written by Mike Barr, pencils by Bart Sears, inks by Randy Elliott, letters by Willie Schubert, Steve Oliff on colors, Dooley, Clark, and Helfer were the editors. The cover by Bart Sears is really cool. I like that a lot. It implies action, and because Batman is wielding the baseball bat of the Batmen, it does imply some action with them. Now, Batman has 3 bullets that need to be taken out of him, but he is not exactly about to stop. And he has to face off with John and the Batmen, and John is still having weird nightmares about Batman. Gordon is going after the Batman as well, but the locals in the neighborhood are standing up for them because they drove out the drug pushers, and they've actually protected the neighborhood way more than the Gotham City Police did. Batman gets some help from an unlikely source, but he's probably not going to be able to do much about Costas' situation, and John is out of control. There's a really funny sarcastic comment by Batman to one of the Batmen, but Batman has to make some pretty hard decisions, and the fate of John is actually kind of left up in the air. While there is a resolution to the story, the character is still out there. And then we also have a little bit of a tease for a much later story at the end of the book. So overall, a really solid story. A lot of fun, not the usual Batman fare, boring navel-gazing deconstructionism that you've been getting from DC for the past 10 years or so. It's definitely an action-packed story, and Batman gets his butt handed to him throughout the story, so there actually is a lot of challenge here for him. It's early in his career, and he is dealing with quite a bit of the usual beginner problems, as well as underestimating opponents. When he thinks he's safe in the shadows, he's really not. So I have to say, I was really impressed with the storyline. I thought it was a lot of fun, and the art is really solid throughout the book. If you like Bart Sears' work, you're really gonna like this. It's some of his best work. So I will recommend this. Hopefully you can find it at a reasonable price, because typically these don't go for more than the price of a new issue, and they're relatively easy to find in the back issue bins. So if you get a chance to do it, you've got a couple extra bucks, and you want to read a Batman story, pick these up instead of a new issue, because the new stuff is largely garbage. So that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.